Number 17, Charlotte.
Well, from inquiries from several people on Thompson Road, and after attending 2 of the meetings with the county in regards to the improvement on Thompson Road, we started out looking for a pipe under the road while they had the road tore up. But after investigating and looking at some of the issues, we needed to determine who would be interested in sewers along that section of Thompson Road from the sports complex down to Believers Chapel. And now, and that's on the south side. The north side is already connected into the crossings. But the people on the south side have, and along Griffin Road, and at least one person on Cobblestone Drive want sewers, depending on the prices, how it all would come about, and I thought it would be just a matter of going and asking people yes or no, are you interested? But each person had a great story to tell about their expectations of sewers when Cobblestone went in, and how they had been promised sewers when Cobblestone went in, and then in fact the pipe went the other way, and they were, and that some people were quite skeptical that that anything would happen. So when I took my little survey around, I asked people, would they be interested given the cost, if they knew the cost, and would they be interested in more information. A couple places weren't there. No one was there. There's a house that's condemned along that strip. There's 2 places under renovation. But there's more than 60%, and only 2 people said no, that they thought their septic system was adequate. And as it appears, those 2 people would actually be at the end of the line if this was to come about. Now, when I brought it in and gave it to Wayne, he said he would find out if we could get some kind of a study to determine what's the best way to do this. Do you go across the road and connect into the crossings, or do you try to in some way come down and connect into Cobblestone? And there's been more than one person said, well, why can't you connect in just to the back of Abbyshire, because some of those properties connect right in the back. All of these are not for me to say, but are ideas that people had. And I see there are some numbers here, so I'd like to know what these numbers represent.
What Bonnie did is take a look and see what the assessed value for what we think the tentative boundaries of this proposed area to be given sewers would be, and then she said what percentage of people seemed to be, or what percentage of assessed value, I should say, what might be interested in sewers, because that's what's required to create, extend special districts. You need to have at least 50% of the assessed value. It looks like, as you said, based on the signatures you obtained, you have about 60%. I think your next step would be to talk to O'Brien here about doing a feasibility study, seeing if sewers were to be installed, how much, timeframes, that type of thing, and I'll leave it to Mark to go from there.
I believe we just need a resolution to approve Brian and Gary to go forward to check for cost, and that's basically how we've always done it.
Could we find out or get an estimate of how much it will cost? Because you have to remember, it's a special district and sewers are low in money. We just had a $14,000 sewer break. That's obviously not something we planned for, and I hope we don't have another one this year. This is a special district account that is limited on funds. So it's something I'll say, I wouldn't think we could do this year, but I just would like to have an idea of like how much it would cost for them to work it up. It will come out of those accounts. That's your
Well, one
resolution.
of the things is that fortunately, that end of Thompson Road isn't due until next year, at least, to be, in case we need a pipe under the road, given the engineering, discussion of engineering costs,
For
so.
reconstruction
it-
of the Thompson Road end.
Right, so it's possible that we could push it back, but we certainly would need an estimate to know what it's gonna cost.
I can give you an estimate to do the feasibility study for the next meeting.
Okay.
Let you know what the cost would be, and what the scope of services would entail. Essentially, it's going to be, confirming again the areas we served, coming up with a preliminary plan on how to serve it with and gravity sewers or pressure sewers, et cetera, what the facility is going to consist of, putting together a preliminary project cost estimate for that, and then what we would do would be basically to boil that down to a user cost. So then the people within the service area would know what the project is going to cost them. At that point, you would probably want to take this back to them,
Yeah.
explain to them the costs involved, and see if they want to proceed from there to, putting together a formal petition and having a public hearing that would be necessary to get the project funded and then ultimately constructed. So at the next meeting, I can provide you with
Okay.
that estimate.
I've got the map right here for you, so
Okay.
it'll give you an idea where you're heading.
Yeah, thank you.
And Mark, I don't know if you know this, or maybe the question is for Gene. If this project were to go forward, the initial startup cost would that be borne by, even if people didn't want that, would that be divided amongst them?
It depends on whether you're extending a new district, creating a new district. And yes, if you're going to create a district that's going to encompass people that that said they didn't want to have sewers, then yes, they will get sewers and they will be charged for them as long as more than 50% of the assessed value want the sewers.
Yeah, but I think his
Right.
question
Oh, I'm sorry, did I
was,
misunderstand you?
What's that?
your question had, well, I don't know, maybe this is my question, maybe it's not your question. But my question is this preliminary look-see at how it's to be done? How would it be done? Does that go to
No, that can
each
be
of
done.
those people?
No, that can be done out of the general fund. I'm sorry if I
That would be-
misunderstood your question.
No, you answered my question, but that's a
Oh,
good
okay.
question also,
Okay.
as to where those funds would come from. And then, I guess secondly, you may have already answered this, is if if you do proceed on it, the initial startup cost, will that be done in a one-year hit on them, or spread over, that's something you have to look at?
I don't have to see how much it costs, but it's something, the town would have to incur debt for it, have to front the money in essence for the large cost to put them in. And then over time, the Dahlias was last done, it's like it's over 15 years, that those homeowners would bear the debt divided by 15, over 15 years in addition to the maintenance for the sewers. And then when the debt is paid off, that would no longer show up on the tax bills.
Okay. Just wait the information. Thanks.
There were two more people up at the north end of Thompson Road, up towards 31, two people who are on, I'm northeast, west, and south, goofed up here, they're on the west side, that don't have sewers. And I told those two people to write a letter and request the pipe to go underneath, and that just those two would bear the cost of hooking up to that pipe, not once the road is being torn up. Because they said they wanted the sewers. If the road's being torn up, it just needs the pipe, and then they can hook up.
Are those on your
No,
map?
no, they were not part of my survey because it was this, I spoke to the woman who was representing the two folks and told them to send a letter to Chet requesting that pipe. Did anyone do that?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, all right, well then maybe I need to go and push them again to see about that, because they had been talking about, this, just, it was more simple than this whole group of folks. I'll go and talk with this lady about getting